Welcome to the Macdownunder Podcast for all Australian Apple computer enthusiasts and collectors.
Welcome to episode 28 of the Macdownunder Podcast. I'm Justin, and thanks to everyone that's joined us for the podcast so far this year, and all our return viewers from last year. Last week we talked about the early Apple keyboards, and every comment that we received across all the platforms said resoundingly, give us ADB keyboards. So here we are. So today we're going to talk about ADB keyboards, recent news, finds, and coming events. And we're back down here at the Mac Museum. Matt, thanks so much for having us back again.
My pleasure.
What have you been up to?
Yeah, g'day JD, g'day viewers. Nice to be back. Since we spoke last, Mac Museum's been open again, which was a great day down here. Reassembled a Classic 2 for a visitor and friend of the podcast, I think, as well. So that was great. After that, I was back into the workshop during the week. I decapped 3 classic analog boards in readiness for a recap.
Okay, so decapping is just the removal of?
In
preparation for another day.
Yeah, that's right. I figured decapping would just be the part one. So I did some decapping. On analog boards. I also decapped a couple of logic boards, and I was trialing out the snip method after watching a video from Gibbertronics, who is also a viewer I know, so shout out to Gibbertronics. That was a success as well. So yeah.
So we'll probably do this in another episode. In fact, I know we'll do this in another episode at some point.
Yes.
But we've got the desolder using heat.
Yes.
We've got, and there's a whole range of different ways of doing that. We've got the twist method, which I know Danny is a great fan of.
Yes.
And this is the clip method.
This is the clip. So yeah, very, very successful. So you can check out this photo we've got, which shows the results of that and the caps in their form after they've been clipped off.
Yes.
But yeah, success. So yeah, that's been me, JD. So what about for you?
I'm pretty much just getting ready for this episode, I've got to say. So hopefully people, our viewers out there, I hope you enjoyed the last episode. We're using some new editing techniques that I'm still learning. But I've learned a lot about DaVinci Resolve, I've got to say. Love the software. And so getting last week's episode out, having a bit of a play to make things better. Hopefully this episode we'll see some extra editing and some features in the show. But that, and then getting the keyboards ready for today.
Yeah, great.
Right, so we better get into it. So today's episode. Last week we finished our discussion on the Platinum Mac Plus keyboard, the last of the non-ADB keyboards. Well, sort of. We'll talk about that in a minute. And with the release of the Apple II GS in 1986, Apple also then launched the Apple Desktop Bus, and this is in fact an Apple II GS keyboard, which I believe is still working. I haven't plugged it in for a while. And they also included an ADB mouse, and whilst the mouse was sold with a whole range of other computers, which we'll talk about, the Apple II GS keyboard, this style was pretty much just for the Apple II GS. So it's pretty unique from that point of view. Had a bit of a read to find out exactly what ADB is. I mean, we all use it. I've used it for years and years and years, but really never dug into what it's about.
No, it was around for about 10 years, we'd say, 10 plus years. So yeah, 12 years, I think,
It was
actually.
there for a long time.
Yeah.
So clearly well designed. So probably no great surprise that Steve Wozniak was the designer as part of the Apple II GS. So I suspect it was a pet project of Woz's to have a bus that could support multiple devices, low-speed devices. But no surprise that something that was designed for the Apple II ended up with a long life well beyond the Apple II. So according to the various pages that I've been reading up, it does use a proprietary bit serial peripheral bus. It is for low-speed devices, as I mentioned. It uses the 4-pin mini connector, very much like S-Video. In fact, I've accidentally plugged my ADB keyboard into an S-Video port once. Didn't do any damage, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Nope.
So the 4 pins that are there, one is for data. So all of the information is on the one pin. One's for power, 5 volts, the other's for ground, so that's the 2 power. And the 4th one is for soft power. So this was the introduction of a power on switch on the keyboard. Well, actually it may not have been, because the Lisa, technically, the soft power on the Lisa was in the keyboard circuit,
right.
but it wasn't on the keyboard.
Yep.
So this is the first time we saw that. Technically, this was really interesting. The connectors are rated for 400 insertions. I reckon I've exceeded that.
I was going to say, I found that very interesting to read in the notes there, JD.
So yeah, if you've got an old keyboard, don't be surprised if it stops working when you insert. I've actually not experienced that yet, so touch wood. They're not hot swappable. We had a bit of a situation at the museum on the weekend with the Mac Classic you were reassembling, and very tempting in the era of USB to just pull in and pull out. So apparently, I actually thought it damaged the CUDA chip. It may well do that as well, but it does blow an electrical fuse on the motherboard.
Or can blow. Yes.
So don't do it, basically, bottom line. And the thing that I found really interesting, and probably new back in the day, so it's a daisy chain. We've sort of probably all know that if we've used ADB keyboard. So you plug your computer into one end and then you connect into a mouse or another keyboard. You can daisy chain 16 different devices.
It's impressive.
It is so imagine your classroom with 16 students all in control of a keyboard for the one computer. Wouldn't that be great?
Sounds like a disaster.
So there you go. So this is the original ADB keyboard, which is why we started out with it. But in 1987, the Mac SE was released, and Apple moved to ADB for that computer as well. Do you want to show us?
So that, if we move him out the way, we've got the Apple keyboard here, which was released, and also known as the Apple Standard Keyboard, which I imagine was just a more colloquial term that caught on based on the fact that there was also the Extended Keyboard, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the Apple keyboard introduced, and ready to bundle with an SE that had come out at the same time. If we have a look at the back, it had the Snow White design language there as well, which is always like to see. Yeah, that's it. So this was the Apple keyboard, and alongside it we had our
extended keyboard.
Extended keyboard.
So this was the big brother. Again, Snow White design. So we can see on the back of the keyboard there. But basically, keypad, of course, both had the keypad, but the additional function keys and cursor keys as well. So, so back in the day, it was launched at the same time, as you mentioned, as the SE and the Mac II. And so you could choose which keyboard you wanted. And generally, the professionals with the Mac II went for the big, expensive keyboard, and the home users and others with the SE generally went for the smaller keyboard.
That's it.
But you could buy whatever you wanted.
That's it, yes. Yep, exactly right.
Okay, so then in 1990, alongside the Mac LC, the pizza box, and the Mac Classic, was the Apple Keyboard 2, model number 0487. But as you can see on the desk in front of us, whilst it was one model number, there were quite a few variations. So notably, there's a whole range of them, in fact 5 of them that have got the Apple logo in colour. But you'll notice we've got one ring in that's got no Apple coloured logo, just a plain embossed Apple. And then on the back, what we'll find out is the first series probably had the stickers, but there was a left and a right version, and then they had the embossed information, which you may not be able to see terribly well, but again, a left and a right version. And of course, with the Mac TV, there was the black version to match the colour of the Mac TV.
Yep.
But otherwise, pretty much very similar, no real difference between them, other than those physical differences on the outside. But again, a keypad, the short style, perfect for your low-cost Macintosh.
Yep. So alongside the revision to the Apple keyboard, which brought the Apple Keyboard 2, the Apple Extended Keyboard also got a revision. which coincided with the Macintosh 2 SI launch. So the extended keyboard 2, very similar with the function keys and spread out a little bit more, which still retain mechanical keycaps as well, which I think is important to note that the Apple Keyboard 2 had moved to a rubber dome keycap as well, so sort of cheapened a little bit there. But the extended keyboard 2 also brought in a height adjustable slider here at the back, which could be used just to give the Apple Extended Keyboard 2 a bit more tilt compared with the original extended keyboard.
And I guess that's one thing we didn't talk about with the keyboard 2, it came with feet for the same reason.
Yes, that's it.
Because the original Apple standard keyboard was just flat on the desk.
Just flat on.
So feet are important, as we'll see really soon.
Yeah. So the Apple Keyboard 2 as well, bundled with the likes of the Classic and the early LC variants. The Keyboard 2 available, Apple Extended Keyboard 2 was available for a separate purchase alongside the professional machines. But you could also buy the Apple Keyboard 2 as well if you intended to have the cheaper option.
So for the collectors out there like us, so this is family number M3501. Now, interestingly, this particular keyboard, which is the US standard version, whilst it was that family number, was model number M0312. And the way you can tell is a bit weird. It's not where the family number is, it's actually the last 4 digits of the serial number. So there was, in fact, an extended keyboard 2 with a model number of M3501, but as far as I can tell, they're only the international versions. There isn't any standard US English version of that keyboard.
Yep.
Okay, now a bit of an ugly duckling, I think, in the ADB keyboard line. In 1993, Apple released the Apple adjustable keyboard, model number M1242, and here it is, complete. So I guess a couple of interesting things. There's these wrist rests.
Yes.
So that from an ergonomic point of view, you could rest your hand on that and type and not have that sort of raised palm effect. Not quite sure how well that worked, but nevertheless. It also split or bent in two. So if you wanted to, you could have your hands at different angles. Yeah, unfortunately, probably not in the right direction. It's probably the wrong direction, but anyway, it did it all the same. And had this interesting function keypad, which I guess is a good idea for the keypad itself,
yes.
The rise of the keypad. But for people that were doing lots of spreadsheeting, having it wherever you wanted it separate to the keyboard is probably not a bad idea. But that required this really unique cable, which is an ADB cable, but short and at right angles to basically join the two keyboards together in part of your 16 chain, daisy chain.
Yeah. So the only device that this cable was bundled with, as I'm aware, as well.
I think so.
Yeah. So it is quite unique, as you said, JD, a bit of an ugly duckling. It was sold separately in 1993. Wasn't around for too long from my research. So, but that's the adjustable keyboard.
Probably a bit pricey in the day, but I've got to say I wanted one at the time. But not because of the ergonomics, just because it was different.
I saw it as well in so many marketing materials, and particularly around the Color Classic and some of the early LC 500 series. Yes, it was always something I was interested in. Having seen one, that's probably enough for me. I don't think I would use one. So.
Well, and if you want to use one, come down to the Mac Museum because there's one on display.
There's one on display, yes, that's it. So, moving on to the last keyboard model in the ADB series, we've got the Apple Design keyboard, which came in 1994, right at the time the Power Macintosh was launched. So, at this point in time, we'd seen essentially when we'd had the Apple keyboard or Apple Keyboard 2 and the Apple Extended Keyboard Keyboard 2 around in the range, essentially a consolidation into a cheaper version, which wasn't, I guess, was noted for exactly that. It didn't have as nice a feel, was considered to be a cheaper unit, particularly in terms of build quality when compared with the previous ones. And JD, as your extensive research has found, yet again, a number of variations to the Apple design keyboard.
Just to your point about the production quality, like a lot of people, I've got box loads of Apple design keyboards.
Yep.
And I don't know about other people, but what I found is if you manhandle them just a bit too much, as in they bash together, you can actually puncture the keycaps. They will actually just break.
Gosh.
As will the keyboard itself. So the plastics, again, it's that mid-90s plastics, really brittle. So I was actually a bit anxious driving down in the car with them all in one box that they survived. From the outside, yes, there's a little bit of yellowing. You can see in one in particular. It's got a special story, but pretty much the same design in terms of layout. Again, cost cutting, no coloured logos at all.
No.
Again, the cheap build quality. Feet instead of the riser that we got in the extended keyboard too. A really sophisticated riser in the extended keyboard.
Yes.
And of course, we've got a black one. So when the Power Mac 5000 series came out, and there was the Director's Edition in Australia, and internationally they had variations of the black 5000 series Power Mac. There's the matching Apple design keyboard.
Yep.
But some of the information that's come out, there's this version with the long feet. And so I think a lot of people have seen these. Oh my goodness, I don't want to close those now with that cracking sound. But the long feet, interestingly, the cable's not centered, a bit different to all the others, and this will make sense in a minute, but there's 8 screws holding it together. So this is, I guess, the premium design keyboard. Then we move on to this one. Now it looks very similar, and it's even got the long legs. Oh, they sound better.
They're a lot, yes.
That's a lot nicer. Again, power cable off to the side, so same manufacturer. But what you'll notice now is there's only 4 screws holding the whole keyboard together. The others are plastic clips. So clearly the budget version of their earlier design.
Some revisions just to continue that cost-cutting.
Yeah. Then we move on to this one. Now you can see it's quite yellow because I've had real trouble finding one of these in Australia. So I've been searching the eBay America sites. And so you notice this one's got a medium-sized foot. And I'll say medium because there's another one to come. I've not seen these in Australia. I've been looking for, best part of a year, and ended up having to import this one. So again, now the keyboard cable is in the centre, so at least there's some design improvement, I guess. And a medium-sized foot, a bit shorter than the other one. And then the last one we have has the short feet, which again I think a lot of people will be familiar with. There's lots of these in Australia, but the short foot, again, the cable comes out of the centre, so it's clearly a follow-up from the previous model. So whilst on the outside they all look the same, again, if you're into collecting these things, which I seem to have delved into, there are lots of variations to keep you interested.
That's it. It seems some of them also slightly different feel to the keycaps as well, depending on the variant. I've noticed even slightly different colour on the lettering as well, but so yeah, those variations there. Interestingly, that being the, if we talk about the cost cutting side of things, the keyboard, built in compared with the detachable ADB cable which we had in the
So you don't pay for the second end point.
Yeah, well that's it. So
and we've lost the curlies too.
We've lost the curly. Yep, that's it. So yeah, just again a couple of sort of just details there as the journey went on with the keyboard. So that wraps up our Apple design keyboard, but there's a couple more.
Stay tuned. Okay, so we've been through all the standard Apple ADB keyboards, but there's a couple of special ones that I think is worth mentioning. So I'm sure we've shown this one before, but this is the keyboard from the 20th anniversary Macintosh. So it is an ADB keyboard, has an ADB cable connected to it. In fact, it's a PowerBook 3400 keyboard in a different case. That's how the TAM was built, with parts from other machines, and of course it's got the integrated wrist rest, so a bit out of the
adjustable keyboard.
Adjustable keyboard, thank you. And obviously we've got the trackpad in there as well. So yes, beautiful. I love this keyboard. I don't know that it necessarily works very well, but I love the look at it with the faux leather and everything.
Yep.
So 8dB, but again, a bit left of centre because it's really only for that one specialist computer, and you can plug it in, it'll work on any other 8dB computer.
Yep.
So next up, we've got another 8dB keyboard, which is a bit different. So this is the keyboard that attaches to your Atmark or Atworld Pippin. So designed by Apple, marketed by and sold by other people, but it is technically an ADB connector. It's the PADB or the Pippin ADB connector. Some people refer to it as the Applejack connector. There's a whole range of different ways people refer to it, and you can get an adapter for this to actually plug it into your Macintosh if you want to. I don't know why you would. It's a terrible keyboard, and the touchpad's even worse. Nevertheless, it is available, and that comes in two colours. I've only got this one because for collecting there are around $1,000 Australian.
Yep.
So I got this much less than that. Don't think I paid $1,000 for it because I wouldn't. But there is a platinum version as well that I'm on the lookout for. So if you've got a cheap one, well and truly less than $1,000, come and have a chat. And the last one, there's always an exception to prove the rule.
So we were in the world of ADB we've talked about, but we thought while we're in the era, we have to cover this one last keyboard from Apple, which is the keyboard that accompanied the Newton. And while the connection looks like ADB, of course we know that the Mac serial, or the serial looked very similar as well, had a similar connection, a few more pins in there. But JD, do you want to talk to this one? This one's from your collection, of course.
It is. So it is in fact an Apple serial connector. And if you had your Newton, you couldn't even plug it straight into the Newton. You still needed the dongle adapter.
Of course,
to go from the Newton connection kit to serial.
Yep.
But it is a serial connector. It uses a unique protocol. Again, it's the Mini 8-DIN. And it was built by Lexmark. Now, we know them as printers. A printer company, but they started out doing a whole range of other things, and because they outsourced it to Lexmark, who happened to just be buying the IBM keyboard components, it's actually very similar on the inside to an IBM M6 series keyboard. In fact, almost identical on the inside if you take the sort of Newton components off it. And in fact, because it is an Apple serial connector, there is a third-party enabler to allow you to plug this into your Macintosh that's got a serial connection and use the Newton keyboard on your Mac. I've got to do that. I only found that out today in the research for the show.
Yep.
I've got to give that a try.
Well, it's a cute little, little unit. No number pad, of course, but yeah, cute little keyboard there, I think.
But again, the exception always makes the rule. So same era, different connector, a different protocol altogether. But it looks nice, and it's Apple.
I had to round it out to include it in the era, so very good.
Right, so we know you're interested in ADB keyboards because we got comments and likes and all the rest of it from the last episode asking for us to do this. So I'm not going to ask you whether you like them or not. We sort of know the answer to that. So do you have ADB or maybe a Newton keyboard in your collection? Which one's your favourite one? Let us know down in the comments. We'd love to hear about it. And also let us know down in the comments what would you like us to talk about in future episodes. So we've done the early keyboards, we've now done I'm pointing at this and it's not even ADB, but we've done the ADB keyboards today. Do you want us to move on to the USB keyboards next time? Because again, there's a whole story in that piece. But if you had enough of keyboards for the moment, let us know and we'll be guided by the feedback that we get. All right, well, time for the news, and only a couple of quick things today. Firstly, well publicised in at least the Facebook groups that I've been in, and also the Macintosh Garden, David Cook has released the Quiet Portable extension. So if you're using a backlit Macintosh Portable and you're sick of the whining that it makes when it's triggering, there is an extension now that will eliminate that pop from the speaker. So check it out at Macintosh Garden. The link's down in the description. Next up, I had to put this in because I am on the hunt. It'll take me a while to make a decision, but I am on the hunt for contemporary storage for my Apple IIs and Macs and everything else because hard drives are failing and magnetic media is slowly failing too. So here's one that's popped up just recently. It's a BurgerDisk. Now, it's a Apple II Smartport hard drive that's been made. Fantastic project. The maker couldn't find exactly what he wanted, so he made his own. But it's daisy-chainable. That's the real thing about this. You plug it into your Smartport and you can keep plugging other things into it. So traditional magnetic media, another hard drive, or presumably multiple BurgerDisks. We'll have to see about that.
Okay.
And the last one from me, again, there's been a fair bit of buzz around this in various circles, is Brad Rosenberg's transparent Apple II lids. So we know Mac Effects have got the transparent cases and so forth, but I certainly remember going to the Apple dealer back in the 80s when I got my original Apple II, and most of them had these sort of curved acetate lids so you could see what was going on inside. And I've got to say, my original Apple II had the lid off more often than on because I just was fascinated by the componentry. And I think in my imagination I was watching the electrons run around. But obviously you can't see anything. Anyway, in that vein, Brad has got a batch of transparent lids specifically for the Apple II and II Plus, and he's got replica badges. I think they're replicas, so you can choose which one you want from his website, linked down in the description.
Very good. Last one that I just found very interesting was Apple releasing an iOS 12 update. So for anyone that's out there still using as far back as an iPhone 5S, or maybe even an iPhone 6, there's an iOS update available. So it is extending the certificate to allow some of the services to continue to run, which would have expired otherwise in 2027. But I love seeing that Apple is there still providing a release for a device, which
That's fantastic. I have to break open the iPhone collection and update them all.
And then I think it was this morning as well, I saw that they've now stopped signing the previous versions as well.
Right.
So it'll be one way once you've updated. But yep, thank you, Apple, for not forgetting about the iPhone 5S users out there.
All right, up to coming events. So the first one we've got again is WasFest. We think 43 is going to happen this year, but no updates on their website yet. Links down in the description. Keep your eyes peeled on the website there for more information.
The Adelaide Retro Computing Group meeting Friday the 13th of February at the Unley Community Centre. So link will be down below for you to check out the details. If you're in Adelaide, great opportunity to get along and get your retro fix.
Retro Gaming Bendigo, again, we think that their first session will be next week, Saturday the 7th of February, first Saturday of the month, but they haven't actually put their 2026 dates up at the time we're recording this episode. So again, links down in the description, go and have a look and check out the next dates when they're announced.
So technology markets back again for 2026. We've got this Sunday, the 1st of February, at the Darebin Community Sports Stadium. So again, check out the link below for full details, but that will be on in Reservoir.
Yeah, not a retro display, I don't think this time, but certainly the swap meets there.
Yes, that's it.
And last but not least, the Mac Museum. Now, there's some new news about the dates. So we know all of January, but what else is happening?
So January's been great. I've enjoyed getting down here, JD. I think you have too, and a few other regulars that have been popping down. But Mac Museum will be open every Saturday going forward. So I'm excited to announce that. And for the foreseeable future, while the weather's still nice and it still works, so Saturdays 10 till 2 down here at Mac Museum.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. I don't know how many of those I can get to, but I'll try to get to them all.
No, that's okay.
Right, for sale this week, I had a look for things ADB related, and I thought I'd get overwhelmed with the number of ADB keyboards, but they're getting a bit rarer. Nevertheless, there were some really good deals that I managed to find. So the first one is the Apple Extended 2 keyboard with an ADB mouse as well. For $55 in Benstar.
pretty good. I think as well, $25 for shipping. So you don't even have to be in Bairnsdale or around. It'll be shipped for $25.
Very good.
Which seems pretty reasonable.
Next up, we've got a Apple ADB Keyboard 2, also with a mouse. So there's some bundles going. This one's $60 from Melbourne on Facebook. Next one up's on Gumtree, and so for $60 in Queensland, you can get yourself an Apple design keyboard. Now there's only the one photo, so I can't work out which variation it is, but I'm pretty sure it won't be the medium-sized foot because I've never seen one of those in Australia. But maybe you could ask if you're interested. I actually did that. So when I was looking for that medium-sized foot, everyone that posted a keyboard on Marketplace that didn't have a photo of the back, I was onto them. Can you send me a photo of the back?
Yes.
Okay, next up in Victoria for $67, oddly precise cost, is the original Apple keyboard, M0116. Working, but does have a couple of broken keys or not working keys, which you might be able to fix with a bit of deoxit and cleaning. But yeah, $67 from Victoria. And I've got to say, I haven't found any of these for sale in any of my searches.
Okay, yep.
In Australia.
Yep. It took me a while to find one as well. So I was, yeah, it took me a while to get one of those when I was collecting.
Okay, last item for today from New South Wales for $75 is the Apple design keyboard. Now this one's the long foot version you can see in the photos on eBay, so $75 from New South Wales. Well, that's the end of the Apple Desktop Bus Keyboard episode. Long time in coming. We've probably talked about it for almost a year, I reckon.
Yeah.
And obviously episode number 28. Any final thoughts about ADB keyboards, Matt?
I think probably last thought, bit of a comment here would be just to mention some of the desirability of those extended keyboards. Yeah, so when we're looking at the for sale section there as well, just to, I suppose, reiterate that Apple Extended Keyboard 2 that was there for $55 plus $25 shipping seems like a very reasonable deal because they are quite desirable. So yeah, I know it was the one in our family home that was on the Macs that we had because of the feel and the extra keys. So yeah, no, that's my favourite anyway, JD. What about you? What's your favourite?
My favourite? Oh gee, well I think I've already declared it. It's got to be the TAM keyboard.
The TAM, yes.
Just because it's so unique.
Yep.
And the feel, and I think it's the whole, using the TAM is just an experience of its own. So
understandable.
We'll bring it down to the museum for one of the open days, but we'll let people know. That's probably my favourite. Now I've got to say, with the for sale section, there are other ADB keyboards that are out there, but they are very expensive. So I've really gone the $100 option. So there was a few there. But you can get the others. They're a bit pricey, and of course, if you're really keen, as I did for some of mine, you can buy them overseas and import them, but they're not cheap. They're $100 shipping and around $100 a keyboard, Australian, so it's not a cheap option, but you can get them if you want them.
There we go.
Again, the TAM keyboard, my favourite, very hard to get by itself. Actually cheaper to buy the whole TAM in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
All right, well, we appreciate any comments that you might have about our podcast. Keep the feedback coming in, we really appreciate it. And again, let us know, we've done the early keyboards, we've now done the ADB keyboards. If you'd like us to do the USB keyboards next, let us know down in the comments. If you had enough of keyboards, let us know. We can take it, we're big boys. So let us know down in the comments and we'll do whatever the majority have suggested for future episodes. So we'll be back again next week. So don't forget to like and subscribe this video and the channel so that you don't miss out on our future episodes. And don't forget to come down to the Mac Museum any Saturday now, at least for the foreseeable future, from 10 until 2, and hopefully I'll get to see you there. And Matthew, absolutely, we'll see you
I'll be here. Yes, absolutely. We'll see you then.
Until then, take care.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining the Macdownunder Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.